To tour simply means I'm a visitor in someone else's world. I'm not a permanent resident there. But in knowing that I can go back home, that gives me freedom, that gives me courage, that gives me confidence that I can stay and engage this tour, because when it's time for me to go back home, then I can go back home. In many ways, this is exactly what Christ has done for us. That he entered into our world, was able to experience life in the flesh, so he's able to now empathize with us in our weaknesses. And so in the same way, how do we enter into the world of others, even though our lives in other respects might be very different? Most of us are probably more of a homebody than we care to admit, at least when it comes to our own perspectives. That we're very comfortable in our understanding, our way of seeing things, that we very rarely enter into the world of others to try to see things from their point of view. And because we're so comfortable at home in our own perspectives, this can leave our wife, our friends, our family, our coworkers almost like strangers speaking different languages with each other. That we're so stuck at home in our perspective that we miss each other. But God has designed this dance of relationships with each other to call us out of our home base, to be able to enter the world of others, to try to see things from their point of view. And that's where the richness, the fullness of life is discovered. But in order to do so, we must learn to take the tour of each other's world. To tour simply means I'm a visitor in someone else's world. I'm not a permanent resident there. Me and my wife, we enjoy to travel. And when we travel into a new city, we at some point take a tour of that city to see the different artifacts and museums and our favorite coffee shops. But while we're there, again, we're simply a visitor there. That is not our home. And there's many places that we've gone that we enjoy visiting, but we would not want to live there. That again, we're visiting, we're not putting roots there. We're not trying to make a permanent residence there. And so as we're visiting and touring the world of each other, there's the same posture that we should take. That with my wife, as I enter into her world, that doesn't mean I have to adopt her way of seeing things, that I have to buy it as my own, that I'm simply entering into her world, trying to see things from her point of view. With my friends, with my family, with my coworkers, it's the same, that I don't necessarily have to buy in or adopt their way of seeing things. I'm simply trying to understand how they view life. And in doing so, I can respect and honor those differences. That as a visitor, I don't have to force you to try to conform to my way of doing things, and I don't have to feel compelled to conform to your way of doing things. Again, this is a tour. And so on this tour, I can be respectful, I can honor those differences. As we're touring, it's also helpful to be curious, not simply to know what people are doing, but to understand why they do what they do. What does that mean to them to do these particular behaviors or to think in those particular ways? How does that connect with their story, their life? And so when we're curious, we're able to empathize, we're able to connect with them in a different way versus simply judging or highlighting those differences. Yes, there's differences there in our world, but how do we understand that? How do we stay curious with that as we also honor those differences? And being curious and honoring on this tour doesn't mean that we have to lose ourselves. That I'm a visitor in your home, I still have my own home that I can respect and honor. And so part of my freedom in this tour is remembering who I am, recognizing that I still have a home. And so even though things may be different, it may be even uncomfortable at times to be in this different world, I can soothe myself and remember that at some point I can go home again. That when I get homesick, I can leave this tour and go back home into my world. But in knowing that I can go back home, that gives me freedom, that gives me courage, that gives me confidence that I can stay and engage this tour because I don't have to, again, adopt that as a way of life. I don't have to lose myself there. I can stay grounded in who I am because when it's time for me to go back home, then I can go back home. But in going back home, there may be souvenirs that we're able to take with us, as it were. Some is just our shared experience, that even though we may do things differently, there's still a common humanity that connects us. And so as we're visiting a different culture, all cultures eat, though what they eat may vary. All cultures dress in certain ways, so the style of dress may vary. And so each culture has its own expression of things, but there's a core essence that remains, that connects humans with each other. And the same is going to be true with our wife and our friends and our coworkers, that even though a lot is different, we will have a shared experience. That we don't have to experience exact same thing in life to find that sense of connection with each other. That we might not have experienced the same tragic loss or setbacks in life or triumphal victories in life, but we know what it's like to experience joy and sorrow and hope all the same. And so we have a shared experience that even though we're different, there's many ways in which we are still very much the same. The souvenir might also be different perspectives or stories, different ways of approaching life. That's not our own, but we take it as a souvenir with us. During my internship, I had a co-therapist who is very different than me in many ways. And one of the souvenirs that I take from her is her way of being in the therapy room. That's not my own. I can't embody it as my own, but there's glimmers of that I remember from her presence, her energy, that I'm able to now bring into session with me, sort of as a souvenir from that time. And so while our wife might be more laid back and we're more punctual, taking a souvenir from her world might be learning how to embrace more moments of being a free spirit. Or maybe she is more social while we are more reserved. And so taking a souvenir from her world is learning how to engage and be more present in the lives of others. In many ways, this is exactly what Christ has done for us, that he entered into our world, was able to experience life in the flesh, so he's able to now empathize with us in our weaknesses. And so in the same way, how do we enter into the world of others? Not that we have to take on their way of life, but being able to find that part in them that resonates with the part of us, that shared humanity, that we're able to now empathize with them, even though our lives in other respects might be very different. And so don't be a hermit in your own perspectives. Learn to take the tour, be curious, stay grounded in who you are while still honoring the differences of others. And you might be surprised of the different joys that you discover along the way. If this resonates with you, then like and subscribe and share with other men who might need some encouragement to get out of the house and learn to tour as well. In the meantime, then check out this next video on why it feels like our wife is always on our case and often has to do with our ears. Check that out here.